Testing. Hold up. Shit. Testing. Hold up. Okay, so sup guys, this is testing the mic. Testing. I'll be right back, guys. So, yeah, today's stream I'm just gonna go over some chart requests and maybe we'll scalp a few trades live. BTC right now is looking pretty juicy, so let's see. So let's get some people in here first, and then we can figure out what to do. But yeah, just let me know in chat. Pretty juicy, so let's see. So let's get some people. Yeah, just let me know in chat what you want to see and shit. Let's see if I can reduce the latency meanwhile. What's up, man? So yeah, anyways, seems like we have a couple of people in here now. So yeah, just let me know if you guys have any chart requests or something, and we can look at it. So one thing that I've been recently incorporating is this website. It's called Scalper Scanner, and this has been suggested by AOC. So yeah, let's take a look at Scalper Scanner, if you guys can see it here. And so basically what you do is you look for volatility, right? So you have certain symbols and you can sort them by volatility. So if I click this, it's going to show me in the last 5 minutes what's the most volatile coin and its price and the funding rate, which you can take advantage of if you know what you're doing. So for now, since I think 15 minutes is a good place to start. So if you observe, you have XEM USDT. So let's check that out. Is there a buy? Yeah, there should. Okay. So as you can see, it's having some sort of a move. So I believe I was trying to trade this yesterday as well with the lines and shit. So I believe my trade yesterday was to wait for price to come into this area of value and then target this FEG over here. But obviously I think I didn't go through with it because the objective was pretty much finished before I could, rather before price returned to this area. But I still think it might be setting up for a nice long here. So if you observe, you have your range. It's arguably not very clean consolidation here, but if you observe, you have some sort of a range in this area. So let's just do that for now. And if you trace volume, yeah, so you can see that price went to your value area high first and then dipped down. So what happens in these situations is, after taking liquidity over here, which I believe it targeted the FEG from here, and yes, that was already filled. Anyways, so price came back here to revisit this area of value, and it looks like it might attempt to sort of distribute upwards now. And to find our area of value, we'll see the most recent up move, which would be from this point to this point. So the move started here and ended here, and what we can do using that information is get your fib out. Let's take this out for now. And so you go use your fib from where the move started to where it ended, and it gives you your areas of value, which is your 0.618 and 0.789 levels. Though I think in this context we can't really consider this wick because the move actually began after that. So I think here we consider this point, so we get the fib out, and yeah, so this would be your area of value for this, and perhaps you'd have your stop below this. So this is something that we might want to monitor. This is a trade that I called on Twitter yesterday. CRV, fuck, my membership ran out. Anyways, yeah, here's CRV. This is a long based on the same thing basically. So you have your range and a deviation from the range, and yeah, so price actually came back into your entry, so you would have DCA'd in these two zones, and yeah, it's continuing to go up. So for anybody who was on the Twitter, we'll see how to manage this one as well. So let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, so you guys, Neil wants a demo for Scalper Scanner. So why don't we do that right now? So let me get Scalper Scanner back into this, and we just sorted it using the 15-minute volatility. So let's refresh it. So basically, what you need to understand is that one sec. Yeah, so the basic premise of it is when Asia opens, right, during the day, there's something you can do. You can sort by descending 60-minute volatility, which will give you the biggest potential movers at the starting of the day. So what that means is there's probably a higher probability that that trade will play out, and that is what this CRV, and this is something I'm waiting for as well, though it looks like it may not push up to your entry. But anyways, so coming back to Scalper Scanner, yeah, so in the starting of the day you check all of these. So in all of this volatility, let's say you find maybe 3 or 4 good setups that you would monitor throughout the day, And yeah, so you in the beginning of the day you use your 60-minute volatility, and for everything else maybe a lower shorter time frame if you're trading just the London session and shit. So you would use your 15 minutes, and to just immediately scalp you would use your 5-minute volatility. It still shows XEM, which I believe is what we were monitoring just now. So if you go on to the 5-minute, you can see the I think this is what it's detecting as volatility. So this push downwards is what it says is volatile. And the way that I like to use this is use like anything, right, from BTC to any alt, they consolidate. So you have your range. There's always a range, doesn't matter on what time frame. So this range is to give you context. So if I go to scalper scanner, and let's say I saw this XEM USDT at the beginning of the day, or lever BUSD, fine, let's take a look at that. Since it's on the 60-minute, I believe this was something I was monitoring yesterday as well. So basically 60 minutes, so it's very volatile on the 1 hour, which is supported by this downward push, right? So if you go onto a higher time frame, you'll see that price is always in a range, or you can consider this a range and the other ones deviations. So it basically just gives you a bit of context as to where you are. And yeah, so you have a 4-hour range before this as well, and you can argue that price is coming back into it. This is some crazy shit coin, so probably not the best example. So let's go back to XEM perhaps. Okay, this looks a lot better. So what I was just saying, there's always consolidation around everything. So when you have this range, there's, let's say, that is a potential range high, that you can consider this to be a range, or you can consider maybe something like a tighter range would be maybe something like this, right? So let's just consider the bigger bounce for now. And yeah, so we got this out. And so what's happening here, if you observe how you use the volatility, is you look where you are in the context of a higher time frame, which in this case would be the 4 hours or even the daily, which is giving you a clearer picture. But coming back to the 4 hours, so your thought process should be, okay, there's liquidity, there was liquidity at this point, and these equal lows over here, which price just took with this down move. So the liquidity has been taken, people who are long on this range, so people who are long here, everywhere, they've all been stopped out, right? So once they've all been stopped out, this gives enough justification to the market makers to take price back up into these areas. And this is supported by the fact that if you look at volume before this drop, even price, so basically what this is, this upper bound, the green line is your value area high, and the orange line is your value area low. And if you observe, price tends to rubber band back into your value area, which is, if we highlight it, so let's just say this is your value area, and when you look at your volume profile, you can see that it's the darker shaded region. So what happens here is value area is considered to be fair price to the market makers, right? So when price deviates out of it, they tend to bring it back into it, and this is nothing different. So they've gone down, they've taken stops below this, right? And they've come back and they'll probably return it back to value area. And in the intention, or if they have the intention to take price further down, they'll at least at the very minimum return price to the value area low before going down. So that's how you use your scalper scanner and take advantage of the volatility. So let's see what's going on live right now. So we have XEM, which we just had a look at. Nothing that interesting as of now. And the next one would be STMX. Let's check what's up with that. Okay, and on this, let's just have BTC open so that we don't miss any move. If I had to guess, I would guess that price would go down to this point. So your trade, if you have to get into a trade right now, let's just mess around with an idea. It would be something like this. So you would go short here with your stop above this and maybe take profit here. But this is a pretty risky area to set your stop, so I would run a manual stop. But let's just monitor this and see how it plays out. So how I do these things is, so you have one entry there at 1.8 hour, another entry there at 2.29, and another entry there at 3.15. So it's sort of like DCAing your position. Let's check. Yeah, so even here, let me get rid of the VWAP. So even here you can see that price is in some sort of a range. So if you consider this to be your range, something like this may not be the most accurate. So currently that would put you above range highs, which should mean that price is gravitated towards range lows. Yeah, but something that's putting me off over here is this retail double top thing over here. And if you've been following me for any amount of time, you would know that right above this there is tons of liquidity, because there's millions and millions of traders shorting each one of these retail patterns. So this is something that is putting me off from shorting this right now, which should be these highs over here, which is also, if you observe, it's inducement. So it would probably go for this order block if you consider this. So yeah, in the event that we go up, I would trace the move back as usual, and these would be my TP levels. But yeah, coming back to this, let's see what it's doing on higher time frames. Doesn't seem to be doing much, but it goes back to the same consolidation and range play. So if you consider this to be your range, this also looks very similar to what we were looking at before, where there's a range and you have your range deviation. So if I track volume here, you can see every time that right below there, like right before they break down from the range, they tend to tap your value area high, and this is because there's trapped sellers over here. So there's people shorting this. So when you're ranging, right, there's a lot of price action that's happening. So there's people shorting this, and then there's people shorting this, right? So this move, it takes them out, grabs liquidity at value area high, and then heads down. And there's also another malicious intent from the market makers behind this, which is that if you observe, this would be your resistance. Let's say this thing, right? A retail trader, what they would do is, let's say they were shorting at any point of time, let's say here, which in the grand scheme of things, it's a very good entry, but they would have their stop right above resistance, right? And when market makers like, even if they had a perfect trade, they're still gonna get stopped. So that is their first malicious intent. And another thing is, when resistance is broken, you are taught to long, right? So when resistance is broken with this and price dips back down here, they tend to enter more long positions, which then get liquidated by this down move. Yeah, this, I would say this looks good again for a long to maybe at least here, and that is because it sort of looks like a retail heads and shoulders, if you guys know what that is. And again, when you trade retail patterns, it's not just you that's trading it. There's a million stops here, whatever. So it's tends to be scary times. But yeah, I'd say this subjectively looks better because the liquidity from this wick has also been taken. So yeah, we'll have to see how this develops. Going on to lower time frames, nothing that interesting over here apart from the fractal nature of price, where you broke out from that range. Let's get rid of this and this, just to form another range. right? And this would be your deviation and return back to range. And if you track volume over this move, you'll see the exact same thing happening. Price touching value area low, rebounding up, touching value area high, down. So it's a very repetitive cycle that you can trade, especially with these shit coins and stuff. But yeah, so this is on the radar for now, I would say. So how you take advantage of this is you can see that on the 15 minute, which you can consider your execution time frame, price has tapped the value area high with this move over here, right? So what price is going to do next is, in theory, it should go back down to value area low. And if you observe this, let's actually put this on our radar for now. So I would do something like, assuming the move ends here, I would short this here, so at my 0.62 firstly, and then my points, and then stop above this, with my profit target being this specific range's value area low. So I doubt that it will go back to our entry right now, but just to test theory, let's observe this as well. Let's check what BTC is doing. It looks all right. I think it's still going to go down, perhaps. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily trade this right now for this reason. So you have equal highs and inducement, which is not a good sign for shorts. Anyways, let's see how it plays out still. So it's about 8:20 a.m. New York, and futures opens at 9:30. So around 9:30, you should start to see volatility kicking into the markets, and shit, it's a repetitive cycle that happens day in and day out. So if you let me show you what I'm talking about actually. So if you go back, let's get rid of this. You will see that the exact time where volatility kicks in, and this is something that's called a Judas swing. It's a repetitive fractal that happens on pretty much all higher time frames. So if you look at this, when the volatility started was, well, yeah, you guessed it, it's at 9:30, right? So you have consolidation before that pretty much throughout the day from your Asia to New York kill zones, and then right at 9:30 a.m. New York, volatility starts to kick in. So if you observe, this is 9:30 candle, right? So let's see if we could have actually taken advantage of this yesterday. Yes, I believe you could have taken advantage of this. There's a value area low tap over here and multiple taps over here. So this is an indication of people building positions at value area low of your range, since price has been consolidating the entire day. And it's a significant thing because apart from your Asia, so pre-London to New York, price is just consolidating between two bounds. And every day the market makers need to come back and wipe the boards, so they need to take stops whichever way. And if you observe something over here which is really clever, what they've done is understand how a range works. There's shorts at the top and longs at the bottom. So with this initial move down, they stopped out longs. So let's say longs are net zero over here, then they commit this expansion upwards, and that is because they don't want to reward the longs in this range. So they take out the longs, go in true direction, and what this move also does is the shorts over here that haven't taken profit over here, so everybody who's short at this point, this point, this, and all of these, they've also been stopped out with this move. So the people benefiting from all of this volatility is just the market makers and anybody who was smart enough to read into it. But yeah, so this is what I was talking about, 9:30 a.m. New York bringing in volatility. And if you just go into any other day, you'll see that volatility starts at 9:30 a.m. New York. So this entire move can be traced back to 9:30 over here, like this area. So that's something that I want you guys to keep in mind when you day trade and shit. So yeah, just we'll keep monitoring BTC, and meanwhile, if you guys have any uh, chart requests or anything that you want me to look at or explain, I'll be glad to go over that as well. So yeah, just let me know. I'll be waiting for your guys' messages in chat. If you want me to look at something, now is the time. And I apologize for the latency. There appears to be quite a bit of latency, around 5 or 6 seconds. I had an option to change that earlier, but I didn't, thinking it wouldn't matter. But yeah, apologies for that. I'll have it set up by the next stream. What's up, guys? This one seems to be going well so far. Short entry for waves. Okay, so waves. Interesting thing. I think waves. I was looking at waves earlier yesterday. It was on the volatility thing. I think you can see my lines over here. So you're looking for a short entry. Let's see if liquidity from, yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily, depends on what time frame you're looking at. Since there's a latency and it'll take too long to communicate, let's just go over everything. So I wouldn't necessarily short this on a higher time frame, owing to price being below listing price, which is also called negative price discovery. So this might just be the perpetual chart, but anyways, heading to lower time frames. So you can see that on the 4 hours you're on in a range, right? Price is consolidating. This is your range lows and range highs, and I think this is the reasoning for your short, but you have equal lows over here, which is a great form of liquidity and which is most definitely going to be targeted by the market makers. So you have an established range and equal lows. So I believe you're looking for price to dip below this and maybe come back and do whatever. So heading into a bit of a lower time frame, let's check what the volume is telling us. So I wouldn't short this right now, because as you can see, there's price is at value area low. So first thing, price is at value area low, which we've seen what happens when it gets there. Second thing is there's a bullish order block over here that price is tapped into, and yeah, the value area low, bullish order block, and I don't think there's much objectives below. You can argue that it might have another consolidation and leg down, but I doubt it, because you've just I think the maximum it would go down is to fill this fair value gap. And what I'm saying is it might go there, but is it really worth the risk to short at range lows? I would not take that risk. I don't think I would short this until this time frame at least. And if you're talking about something in a lower time frame, I think actually it's going to go up rather than down. But then again, you can never know for a certain fact. Yeah, short term, I would simply not short this as of now until there's direction that's being shown on 4 hours. So we'll see how price reacts on the higher time frame charts to this value area low slash bullish order block. Depending on that, we can take it from there. Okay, so you're looking long term. There's not much to go by, but let's see what we can cook up. Disregarding these. So, okay, so their stable coin might decouple similar to Luna. I see. Yeah, that would be a killer shot. So if you so what I would do over here in this situation is price cannot perpetually go down, right? It has to pull back, which is to mitigate market maker positions. So that is why price action looks like this instead of this. But that's a topic for another day. So what I would do is to wait for whatever move this is to end. So once this move ends, I will look for a pullback into an area of value before going short. I think that's the best way to go about this, and that would be in the form of, there's not much to go by on the daily, so let's just stick to our 2 and 4 hours. So if you consider the beginning of the move to be this, so price went up, got rejected here and started heading down, and this really depends on where price starts to rebound from. But for the purpose of analysis, let's just assume that this low is the lowest it will go, right? It's gonna go up from here. Let's assume that. So you would trace this move with a fib, and these would be your areas of value. So ideally you would want to short this and this level with invalidation above this block perhaps, but I think it's a bit ambitious. So if you want a confirmed entry perhaps with, it's definitely not going to have the same risk management. So let's go to a lower time frame, and this is where lower time frames tend to help a lot since it's reducing the noise. So here we can clearly see the move started here instead of here. So considering the 1 hour and assuming the move ends here, these would be your areas of value to enter a short position. Now I don't know what volatility that news event might bring, if it does happen or when it does decouple, but from a purely technical analysis standpoint, these would be your value areas to short, and it does line up with FVGs over here and whatnot. So maybe something, a position like a short here, you can start scaling in your entries from there. But yeah, short from here with stop above value area high, or rather this order block also works. But in this situation what you're going to have to do is to use a manual stop. So you cannot have a hard stop loss set over here. You'll need to use invalidation, which should be maybe, let's say, a candle close above this high would mean that you have to close your trade, or a candle close above this order block means that you'll have to close your trade, something like that. And your take profit levels would be these relatively equal lows. So it might look something like this, and to get further targets to the downside, you'll have to use a fib retracement on a much higher time frame. My fib unfortunately only has these levels that I use, but let's check where the 1.618 and other stuff falls. So you have to trace your most recent up move. So maybe something like this. Still, price is already below that, so just tick some more fib levels and you'll get your price targets. So if I do this, where's the settings? Okay, it's here. Yeah, so if I go into the style and I choose a bit more sort of higher areas of value to look at, your price targets would suddenly be, let's say, this. So you're short here, your next fib confluence level would be going back to this here, and then below this and the other stuff. So these would be your price targets for this short, heading into negative price discovery from before. But yeah, so these would be your areas of value, and ideally you'd have your invalidation above these highs. Hope it makes sense. Let's check. So it looks like we have direction correct on this. I think did we also get a fill on this? Maybe we did. I don't know. Anyways, we aren't trading this anyways. This also looks alright. GRT was something that I was looking at yesterday, and I think it did end up playing out, but unfortunately I cut this trade before itself since I was going to sleep. So again, it's something very similar to what I just showed you over here. So I just used a manual stop, which would, and I believe that was it was a 1 hour wick above, I mean 1 hour candle close above my stop, which if you observe, it did not happen. Or I believe it actually maybe the 30 minutes. Yeah, I think it was the 30 minutes. So since my execution time frame was this, I said if price closes above this high, which is basically where my stop is at, a candle closes above that, I will close my trade. I don't think that happened, but anyways, I think it happened later on, but I cut the trade pretty early since I had to go to sleep, and I don't like sleeping with positions open. Yeah, let's see what BTC is up to now. Shit. Looks like the trade pretty much played out already. So this TP was a bit iffy since the FVG is here, I believe. But yeah, I'm counting that as a win. This is a live trade that is playing out as we speak. If you did get into this, I hope you cut it here. If you didn't, I would wait for price to come back down and cut the trade. Yeah, so yeah, let me know if you guys are in this trade that we just talked about maybe 15-20 minutes ago, and if you're in it, I hope you've taken profit, and at the very least I would set this at break even depending on where you got in. So you would scale. Okay, this is a more realistic entry that you would have gotten, I believe, since price did not retrace entirely back up, but yeah, nonetheless still an okay trade. For you new guys over here who are coming from Twitter and Telegram, check the channel out and subscribe and shit. There's a lot of content in here that is really valuable to you guys, and also do me a favor and follow this. This is my Twitter. Just search this up, you'll find it. I call trades over there and look over market overviews and any updates that I need to give out as well. So make sure you follow this. Yeah, while the trade plays out and we manage and monitor it, I'll be taking in some more chart requests or anything really, so don't be shy. Any concepts that need to be explained or charts that need to be looked at, just drop them in the chat and I'll take a look at them. Hopefully the delay has caught up by now. If it did, then just let me know what you guys want me to look at, or I'll just bring up scalper scanner again and we'll check for volatility. Looks like DYDX was in the list. Yeah, DYDX seems to be doing some crazy shit right now, so let's see what's up. So DYDX, that was the 5-minute volatility. Let's look at the oh shit, at the jeez. Okay, just thinking how we could possibly trade this. You have some objectives below, which should be these wicks for liquidity. It seems like we might have missed the move. So what usually happens with these situations is moves tend to happen in two impulses. So if you ever look at any big move that happens, let me just pull up an example right here. For example, this up move, so this would be your first impulse and then your second impulse. So if you consider the thing that's happening right now to be your first impulse, we could look at a trade like this to take advantage of this volatility. So I would basically just market short here and here, stop above this obviously, and then maybe a reclaim of this wick and even further below for wherever the liquidity was. So if you just extend lines this way, this could be a trade. A rather risky one, but I'm sure it's worth a try. Let's see. I'm gonna monitor this as well, not necessarily trade it, but yeah. Another way to look at this is to look at volume and consolidation before this move. I would say this is a pretty alright looking trade, but that is considering price retraces back to your 789. Otherwise here it's just a 2.6 hour, which I would not take. So let's monitor this, and if price goes back here and shows some sort of move, maybe we can take it. But yeah, so you guys can understand now why this scalper scanner is important. Let's check what BTC is doing. Seems to be doing fine, the trade. So another thing that we saw was HNT. Let's see why it says this is volatile. This also looks very nice actually. So maybe you'll see a downward move from here, rejecting back here, and then perhaps you'll see a claim of the gaps over here. This is an interesting chart for sure. So this is your most logical objective. So if you just look at this, right, you have, yeah, I think this would be your logical objective. So considering consolidation over here, it's probably tapping into the value area as well. So I think these are interesting levels to short HNT back down to take liquidity from this move up. So you would look at something like this and this. Fine, let's monitor this as well. But then again, on the 5 minutes on this chart, contrary to the idea that we've had, what I would do here is to simply long this to take our objective. So since we know that price is going to reject from these areas, we also know that price has to go to those areas first. So you would long it wherever, and it's not a very good trade in my opinion, but just for observation's sake, let's see how it plays out. Okay, so yeah, nothing else really going on here. If let's see what scalper scanner says if we refresh it. Okay, and 5 minutes hot XEM PHB BUSD. Let's see what's up with that. Okay, yeah. So here you go, guys. Again, once this level is taken, here you would start looking for rejection as opposed to continuing this trend. So this is one that we just showed you right now, right? And it's tapped into the value area low. So at this point is where you would start looking for shorts rather than longs. So this would be your POC for previous consolidation, the point of control, and even just, yeah, it's just going through a lot of volatile shit right now. But yeah, I mean, it's fair. In theory, from what I've seen, it should start going down now. But yeah, you never know. seems like it would trend up again for a bit since BTC is doing this garbage. That's good for this trade. Okay, so while the shit plays out, do you guys have any questions or requests or anything? To all the new guys in here, by the way, just don't be shy about anything. You can ask me anything. Doesn't have to be the smartest question ever. Do general moves happen like this through the scanner? Could you elaborate on that a bit more? Not exactly sure uh, what you're saying. What do you mean, general moves? It it's a it's more of a preemptive thing rather than uh, predictive type thing because it shows you that volatility is coming in. Bro, what is happening to this? Holy shit! Maybe it's going for this VWAP. Wait, how much? That's 6% in a minute. Jeez. So I believe it just tapped into value area high, maybe. Seems like it. Looks like it took the liquidity from uh, this range. Sup Juan, how are you, bro? Yeah, moves like this do happen. Yeah, it is an anomaly, I think, because I've never seen shit like this. Because you have to be very logical about it. Although, like, the extent of this move could not be predicted, but as we did in the stream, we can understand that price is bound to go to these points. Of course, it's impossible for us to predict that it would go up this high or this high, but it gives you a good sense of direction and puts coins on your radar, which you otherwise wouldn't have noticed. Because realistically, when was the last time you looked at HNT? Yeah, it is volatile. That's how you know their product works. Possible start on storage. Okay, let's have a look. So, are you talking about short term or a longer term short on storage? Because what I'm seeing here is your classic range track. Let's track it with, I believe, let's have a look at the range before this volatility. uh, I wouldn't necessarily short this right after it's taken the liquidity below. So it's not I don't think it's a very uh, smart thing to short on this time frame at least. But okay, short term. So let's look at, fine, so let's consider 1 hour to be higher time frame, which if you do, you can see that price tapped into this block over here, which lines up with the point of control of your previous consolidation. So it definitely has the juice to go down. Let's see if there's any shorter term ranges forming, which I believe there is. There seems to be a sort of range forming between these two bounds. So if you go a bit lower, I think it will be clearer. I wouldn't short this right now. Maybe just in the sake, for the sake of continuation, you'd short, stop here, and you would have your take profit maybe here, or let's just start with the reclaim of this. And this again goes back to the fact that moves happen in two impulses. So if you consider this to be your first impulse and stops are taken with this fix, which leads me to believe it's going to come down to here at least. Let's monitor this and see how it plays out. This isn't the ideal entry, but it should work since there's highs over here and equal highs, so price might go for those, as well as this FVG over here. But from my experience, uh, when these moves happen, price does not respect anything that much. So from what I've observed through my trading days and whatnot, price does not come back here, and it usually doesn't come back to your area of value. So the smart thing to do in this situation would be to trace this move and see if price comes back into this area of value, which initially it did, granted, but I don't think it might come back to there anymore. If it does, great, this would be your ideal entry with manual stop, whatever. But for now, just for interest's sake, let's consider this and see how it plays out. Is there anything else that we can use from this previous price action? I think this is the extent of which you can predict it with a grain of certainty about where it might go. Maybe you have some targets here on FVG here, and then some lows over here, which could be inducement. So if this does end up playing out and price goes back down, your ultimate targets would be something like this, in my opinion. I wouldn't necessarily go lower than this for these lower market cap coins. Tends to be a bit risky. Plus, if you observe, general order flow is up, so it doesn't make sense to short this to something like this liquidity right now. It makes sense on the larger perspective. But yeah, I was thinking it would retrace to highs before recent dump. Not exactly sure what you're saying, but I'm assuming that you are thinking that price would have gone back here before this move. Is that it? If it is what you're saying, since there's a delay, I can't 27.18 uh, okay, so I'm assuming that somewhere, let's just say it's this high. I don't think it's a fair assumption for price to return back to this high before going down, because if you observe, there was already a high that was made, which would be this one, and price transacted below it for a fair amount of time. 19th December, let's see. Okay, I think you're talking about this one. Okay. It's a fair assumption to make in this situation, but again, you have to think about the volume that's over here, and if with this up moves, if price has the juice to come take it before going down. I mean, it's the ideal scenario for sure, but and another thing is wicks like these, right? So basically you have 1 wick, 2 wick, 3 wicks, and then whatever. So wicks like these, they do not tend to act as such great price targets for liquidity, because when we're looking at this, we're looking for liquidity to be taken before price heads down. These do not tend to be good targets, since if you observe, this is liquidity, and then this high takes the liquidity from this, and then if you see, price takes stops below and then takes liquidity of this as well. So it's already claimed liquidity, whereas if it was something in the opposite way, like this would be a great price target as opposed to this, because there's liquidity here, and then there's liquidity here, and then liquidity here. So that's one scenario that I can think of about why price did not retrace back into that. But yeah, I mean, what it comes down to is price is not going to respect your analysis every time, so you have to be prepared for it. You will get a fill over here, but I wouldn't necessarily, I'm not confident in this trade since it's yeah, let's see anyways how it plays out for the sake of interest. You can see this as well. After taking our price target over here, price is starting to go back up, which is fine, good for this trade. I think we'll have to give these trades a bit more breathing room and time before we see how they play out. Let's see. Let's consider this again. From my experience, now after this target has been taken over here, it's very likely that price is going to take your stop here. Yeah, it does look pumpy. So once your objective is filled over here, the next plan of action for them is to punish the shorts from this range. So shorts have been rewarded until now, and now they have to take stops by punishing them. Definitely there's a lot more action going on in other days compared to today, so maybe we'll hop on another stream tomorrow again, or we can make this a daily thing. Let's see what you guys think about this one. So whichever platform drove you to the stream, just let me know on that platform, whether it be the private Discord, the Twitter, or the Telegram. Just let me know what you think about streams like this, and if I should make this a more frequent thing, or if I should just leave it as a one-off thing. Higher high and higher low on lower time frames. How low are we talking? Yeah, looks pumpy. So for this move right now, if you wanted to catch this up move, you have to react really fast. Price is not going to come into your area of value. I will bet you that the maximum it will come in is your 0.5 level. So your trade will realistically look something like this. If that is, if price comes down to even this point. If I want to catch this up move in this particular situation, I would simply just market long with an invalidation below this, which I do not suggest you guys to do. Okay, so 5 minute, higher high and higher low. I do not see it. Maybe I'm just being blind. I think if this low forms now, it will be a higher low. But yeah, so basically if I wanted to catch this move, I would just market long. Looks, of course, when I say that it retraces, but yeah, maybe you have your stop below this and you take profit at range highs. So tracking volume here, so you would take profit start, yeah, around here. This is what it would look like if I had to take this trade right now, which I am not, and I do not suggest you do, but this is just for the sake of testing theory. And even this, if I was in this also, I would cut this right now. So whatever little profits this is, I would just simply cut that and run, because if you check volume, price has went taken the stops of your previous consolidation, so the only logical thing for them to do is to take stops here. Until they showed BTC looked bumpy, I would have leaned a bit more towards downside, since there's also distribution targets over here. But yeah, you have to be able to flip your bias and see what's up. Again, so price does not move in one impulse, so here it would look something like this, I would assume. HNT has swept key level and is now attacking the order block. Let's see what's up with HNT. Oh bruh. How much? What is going on with this shit? Hold up. It's pumped 15% or some shit like that in 10. Oh, bruh. Again, this is why you set alerts and not limits. If you set a limit at these value areas over here, expecting a short, you would be screwed right now. Yeah, I did take the key level. Let's see what order block it's targeting. Yeah, this one. Dude, it actually looks like it looks like a good shot, to be honest. A risky one, but maybe. And you would, let's say you take profit at your previous value area high. Is this what you're looking at as well, Juan? If it is, then yeah, maybe something like that. But interesting how HNT is pretty much leading. Might be a sign. But yeah, I wouldn't. Jeez. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Maybe it'll just keep going to the moon. But it's a bit overextended in my opinion. It has to have some sort of consolidation, but you never know with these lower volume type coins. And I forgot to answer something that Neil said earlier, but I'll tackle it next stream. So yeah, this is again the same thing where price goes up in two impulses. So you have first impulse, second impulse, and when it comes down to, it will happen in two impulses, something like that maybe. This might be a nice trade actually if it goes back into this area, which it might not. Let's see if it respects the order block. Doesn't look good though. Yep. So you should look out and not rush into trades, especially with these type of coins. So this is just an idea. But yeah, if you keep like shorting strength without confirmation and longing weakness without confirmation is something that's going to mess your account up really fast. So you guys need to watch out for that as well. In theory, it still might play out, but I wouldn't count on it. Might just push higher and higher, and next it might target this range value areas. Not exactly a range, but consolidation. So it might end up going here or targeting this order block here, filling that fair value gap. You just never know with these things. So just wait for more price action to develop, and you can get in with that. Because even if you observe, assuming we caught this entire move, let's say our entry realistically was here, and you caught the entire move till here. It's a 5.4 hour trade. You can get the same 5.4 hour by doing something with BTC or anything else as well. So it's not suggested that you rush into trades. It's 9 times out of 10. Simply waiting for more price action to develop will give you a better sense of direction rather than trading this right now. Anyways, haven't traded much today. Let's hope tomorrow will be a better day for trading. We should see some midweek reversals Let's check BTC. What has it been up to? So Monday, where is Monday? Wait, what day is today? Okay, Tuesday. Yeah, so if you observe, I think, yeah, so what tends to happen is Monday, right? Monday's move 9 times or 8 times out of 10, it's going to be faded, which basically means people are gonna come back, not people, market makers are gonna come back for the liquidity below your week, and this tends to happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which is called the midweek reversal, which is something that was taught in the private Discord by a person named Dean. And the theory basically follows that whatever direction is there for the first half of the week, the second half of the week reverses against that and takes liquidity. So in the context of this week, since price has either been trending upwards or consolidating, it would mean that either today or tomorrow, New York time, price might start trending down. So that's something you guys might wanna watch out for. Were we looking at anything? Jeez. Looks like this might as well play out with that wick. I'm not used to holding trades this long as I did with CRV. But yeah, this was one that was called in the Discord and Twitter based on scalp scanners 1 hour volatility. So that's why it's on the hourly time frame, since this was my execution. And if you observe, if I break it down, basically I traced this move. Wait, you have, yeah, so this move down, or was it up? Whatever. So I just took a fib and traced this up move and then got in my areas of value, stop below your previous wicks, again manual, and I'll wait for price to go above this. Once it's above this, I will set stops to break even, and these are my targets. Let's see how it ends up playing out. What's HNT doing? Looks like it's giving some sort of reaction to this order block, but it's way too volatile to risk anything right now. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna call the stream here, guys. So if you have anything that you want to add on before I leave, just let me know real quick and I'll go over those before stopping the stream. And also, again, as I said, whatever lane led you to come into the stream, just let me know what you think of it over there. May it be Twitter or the Discord or the Telegram, just let me know. And yeah, if you have anything you need to say, you say it now. Okay, seems like you guys don't have anything to say, which is fine. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Yeah, bye guys. And for those of you in the private Discord, just let me know if you need anything. Sure. Thanks, man. Thanks, guys, for coming. Bye.